All right, so number 6, we have a 98% confidence interval, so we know what section we're in for proportion. Of hotel reservations canceled is here. What is the point estimate for the proportion of hotel reservations that are canceled? All right, so we have 2 ways to recognize this. One is we know exactly what point estimate means, and point estimate is one value to estimate as opposed to an interval of possible estimates. The other way to do this is that we recognize that an estimate of the proportion, our point estimate, if we're estimating the proportion, is just going to be our sample proportion. And that's not very helpful because a lot of students start thinking of x over n, they start writing down the formula, and really what this question comes down to is if we already have a confidence interval, our confidence interval is constructed by starting with our point estimate, our p hat, and then adding a margin of error to get to the upper, subtracting a margin of error to get to the lower. And this makes sense because the underlying distribution is normal and symmetric, so our confidence interval is also symmetric, centered around our point estimate. So all we need to do is figure out where the middle of our confidence interval is. And the easiest way to do that is just to take our 2 values, and average them. So add them together, divide by 2. Most students end up screwing this up in their calculators, so just make a double check with your interval that you end up in the middle of it. So according to my calculations, this is 0.08, but a very common mistake is to get something like 0.136 because you didn't do it as with parentheses, which would not be in the middle of our interval, so that doesn't make sense. So our answer here is just 0.08, that's smack dab in the middle of my interval.